Hello and welcome to the final live stream of today, part of our #DiscoverLC online virtual open day, discovery day event, all kinds of things happening this week. So anything you want to find out, we're finding it out for you this week. We've got another bunch of streams tomorrow, but this is the final one of today, and we're talking all things careers. We've got two lovely members of our careers team to join us today to talk about all things careers related. Any questions that you have, feel free to pop them in the comments and we'll get to those as soon as we can. But let me introduce you to our wonderful team. First up, we have Sonia. Hiya, Sonia.
Hi, Ashton. You okay?
Yeah, not too bad. Thank you. Getting through the week. We've been having a lot of things this week, but we're finally sort of coming towards the end, which is good. But
it's been a long week for you, hasn't it?
It has, but we've still got a lot of content to talk about. So we're going to carry on ploughing through until tomorrow evening. Did you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and your role at the college?
Yeah, so I'm Sonia. I'm one of the careers advisors who works at Leicester College. I split my time between Abbey Park campus and St Margaret's campus, which is a really lovely mix. I've been at the college since I think 2009, so it's been a long time. And I basically meet students at the college and people who are not at the college to talk to them about course and career options. The other part of my job role is that I assist Katie, who you'll meet in a minute, with processing the higher education UCAS applications. So yeah, that's me.
Fab, very nice. And then we'll bring in Katie then, because you mentioned her so lovingly. Hiya, Katie.
Hi, Ashton. Good afternoon. You okay?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Do you want to tell us a little about yourself as well?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so hi everybody, I'm Katie. I'm also one of the careers advisors at the college. And just like Sonia, I mix my time between both Abbey Park campus and St Margaret's campus, which is a really lovely mix of the different kind of campuses and courses that are offered at both of those, which hopefully you've had a lovely insight into this week. So again, with like Sonia, we see students who are at the college, who aren't students of the college. Really, we see anybody for a careers appointment, it's free and it's impartial service. And like Sonia's mentioned, we each have our own specialisms, and mine's leading on the kind of the UCAS coordination and basically higher education and partnerships as well with some of our local universities. So yeah, it's a very varied and fun role.
Amazing, thank you. So you guys speak to hundreds of students a week, basically talking to students every minute of every day. So you know what students want to ask, you know what people that come to the college, their worries, people who are leaving, you know exactly what the questions that they want to ask. So you've written us a nice little presentation that just answers some of those frequently asked questions that you find a lot, just in case anyone who's watching at home, you know, you're a little bit unconfident in asking those questions. We've got you covered for a bit, but any specific questions, do feel free to put them in the comments, and these guys will do their best to help you out. So we've sort of got a couple of questions. So let me bring up your wonderful slideshow and sort of ask, like, the first question I think you students get asked quite a lot is if they don't know what to do, if they're not quite clear on what the future is going to hold for them, what can they do? Who can they talk to?
Right, well, I mean, this is a really, really common question, and we probably get this asked this every day, if not every week. I think the first thing to say, though, Ashton, is don't panic. You know, if you don't know what you want to do in the future, it's very, very common. No, I don't think Katie or I knew what we wanted to do at 16 to 18. Those ideas came much, much later on. So there are some things, however, that you can do to help you out. So the first thing I would do is I'd get a paper, I'd get a piece of paper and a pen, and I'd start making some notes. So the first thing to do, think about yourself as a person. So how well do you know yourself? And what I mean by that is think about the following aspects of your life which are important to you. So think about your experience at school, at college, and write down perhaps what subjects you enjoyed at school, you know, what GCSE subjects, what A-level subjects you enjoyed or whatever. Also think about what you didn't enjoy as well, because sometimes knowing what you don't enjoy is just as important as knowing what you do enjoy. Then move on to your personality. So think about yourself. So what personality do you have? Are you friendly? Are you outgoing? Do you think you're an extrovert? Do you think you're really organised? Move on to your strengths and weaknesses. And then you might then want to move on to your skill set. Now, I actually think this is quite important. So write down what skills you have. So for example, Do you really enjoy working with certain IT software packages? Do you think you're good at cooking? Do you think that you're really practical? And then work out what about those skills that you really like and maybe what you're not so good at. Finally, then move on to your hobbies and your interests. So again, write down what those hobbies and those interests are, and then make a decision. Is it that the hobby is just something that you want to remain as a hobby, or do you think you actually want to turn it into a career direction in the future? So once you've gone through all of that, then have a think about, okay, which direction then do you want to go into? So for example, would you be happy to come to a college to do a college course? Or do you think that an apprenticeship might suit you better because you are this practical person? Or is it that you're more suited to the world of work? I think if you try those things initially, that should give you a better understanding of yourself, because knowing yourself, I think, is key to actually exploring your career options for the future. Okay, once you've done that, then what you can do is you can have a go at sitting a career matching quiz. Now, all of these websites, so the National Career Service, Prospects, I Could, Career Pilot and Kudos, all of these websites have their own version of a careers assessment. Essentially what that is that it's going to ask you a series of questions about your career likes and dislikes. And at the end of that, it's going to generate a report suggesting careers that you might be suited to. As I said, each website has got its own version. There's no better website, there's no better assessment. It's what's important to you, whichever one suits you best. I would pick one though, okay? The one that we really like though is the one at the bottom, which is Kudos. And we tend to use this, I don't know, on a weekly basis, I think, with students when we're actually seeing them face to face for appointments. Kudos is a really comprehensive careers assessment. As I said, it'll ask you 100 questions about your career likes and dislikes and then generate a report suggesting careers. But this is not an exact science, so it's important to say that, you know, if a career comes up and you're not really feeling it, that's fine, put it to one side. It's just obviously using your responses to think of particular careers that you might be suited to. So you do need, just to give you a heads up, you do need a license code for Kudos. So if you're a Leicester College student, if you email the careers advisors, we can let you have that license code. If you're at another college or at another school, ask your school or college for the license code, and they can let you have that as well. Now, if you try both of those techniques, it should help you start formulating some ideas to help you get started with your own career direction. Now, if you're still stuck, of course, you can come and get in touch with a careers advisor. Obviously, at the minute, we're doing telephone, email and video call guidance, but you can get in touch with us and we can try and help narrow down those ideas a little bit further. And sometimes I think it's just useful to talk to other people about your career ideas, but give them a go and let's see where it leads.
Can I ask what you guys wanted to be when you were younger? Like, what was the goal?
God, I think it ranged everything from a hairdresser to an airline stewardess.
I wanted, airline, cabin crew.
I flirted with the idea of becoming an astronomer as well, because I love science and I really enjoyed it at school. But you know what I was told at school?
What?
That isn't a career for a girl.
Oh, no.
I know. So those are the attitudes back then. Obviously now it's very, very different. But career, you know, science is your bag. Please go for it.
Mm-hmm. I used to want to be a police officer, or I thought I wanted to be a police officer, but then really what I realised, I wanted to be a police officer on the telly, and I wanted to be an actor. So then I don't want to be an actual police officer. I just want to be on telly. I had a very clear change there. So sort of, you know, once you've got that career in mind and you sort of know what you want to do, the next step is also finding that qualification that you want to, that's going to help you get into that career. And there's quite a few, qualifications for young people out there, level 3 qualifications that will get you into the next step. But why should students choose to do a BTEC qualification? How's that going to benefit them, do you think?
Okay, so hopefully, obviously, this week has been fantastic, and people have been tuning in to learn all about the kind of vocational qualifications, obviously, that we've got on offer at Leicester College, because they're really varied, it's really diverse, and it really can take you off into so many fantastic career pathways. So, when you're thinking about perhaps choosing a BTEC qualification and whether that vocational study route is going to be good for you, one key thing I'd say is it's definitely great for people who want a more hands-on and practical kind of approach. So as the slides just come up here, you can see I'm just going to focus on this left-hand side column, the positive points really, because obviously if it is practical and hands-on, then it can be especially useful if you already know kind of what industry you want to move into, because after GCSEs, lots of students do kind of say, right, I really want to focus on, computing, or, I want to go down, focus on performing arts and dance in particular. And obviously that's why it's perfect. It is a subject specific focus at that stage. And it can really obviously be very good, as we've heard from lots of our fantastic departments, for your overall career progression, because you get a real combination of that practical learning that we've just talked about, but obviously with the subject and theory content behind it. They also incorporate work experience in a great deal. So some learning will take place in the workplace, which obviously gives you that ability to apply your new knowledge to those real life kind of workplace situations straight away. So you're putting that theory straight away into practice, which again is a real plus and benefit for kind of how students learn. So that work experience as well assists students with all your kind of this buzzword transferable skills, which are really important, because those skills are what employers are also looking for. So yes, they want the qualifications, but they want to see that you can actually, what it's like to be at work and what will be expected of you and how to conduct yourself. So it's fantastic that our students obviously get the opportunity to do that. Another point you might want to consider is kind of how BTECs are assessed. Because again, unlike kind of traditional academic routes such as A-levels, which is kind of exam-based, on a BTEC you're assessed in a real variety of ways. And again, we've heard that from a lot of our curriculum areas, haven't we, this week? So, a real mix of kind of research projects, practical assignments, presentation delivery. There are, again, it will depend on the BTEC subject that you decide to do with us. Like, for example, for computing or health and social care science, there's going to be a couple of exams in there. But something like your creative arts, so your art and design, for example, graphics or performing arts that we've heard today, there'll be no exams at all in those courses. So that really can suit a lot of our students who like to be assessed differently, so they can demonstrate their skills in other ways than purely just via exams. And like I touched on before, it does really equip students with those essential transferable skills, which they can obviously then apply either if they decide to progress onto university after level 3, or if they decide to go into an apprenticeship, or obviously into the workplace. So skills such as resilience, we hear this word a lot, but the ability to kind of bounce back, take on board kind of constructive criticism, and build on that, teamwork, personal motivation. I think a lot of independent study, being able to kind of write your essays and research projects, really useful. Analytical skills, your organisation and time management, as well as just to name a few fantastic skills you get from a BTEC qualification. So, as I said, just a few points really to consider. Hopefully that's, if you're sitting there thinking that sounds like me, then a BTEC might be a really good option for you to consider.
Yeah, I remember when I was doing my sort of A-level BTEC, I was told that, you do A-levels, you go to university.
Yeah.
And I did drama as an A-level, and I did really, really well on all the practical assessments, all the coursework, and then I absolutely bombed the exam and did a horrible job. So, and that took my grade down quite a lot. And if I hadn't done that exam, I probably would have done quite well. But obviously, exams just aren't really my vibe.
No, and you're not alone, and we get a lot of students come to us who've done maybe started a year of A levels. We have so many students come to us in that situation, and they've been kind of not pushed in that direction, but that's kind of what the advice has been, to carry on with their A levels, and that's not actually been the best route for them. And so they've done that year, and then often that can really affect their confidence when actually they then come and join the kind of BTEC and they just fly, and it's fantastic. So yeah, we do get that quite a lot.
Yeah. So obviously after doing GCSEs, you've done lots of different subjects, you've covered all kinds of things, some up to like 13 different subjects. But when you come to BTEC or level 3, you tend to narrow that down to just a couple. But what options are available to students after they've done their GCSEs?
So there's actually quite a few options, which is great now. When I was at school doing my GCSEs, my options were really limited. And it's funny what you say, Ashton. My only option was A levels. I wasn't given the option to do anything else. And actually doing lots of exams is not my learning style. So I probably would have done a lot better as well. But now you've got the option after your GCSEs, obviously depending on your GCSE grades, you've got the option to do a BTEC, a vocational qualification like a VTCT. Obviously A levels, there are positives, and we'll go through them. You can do an apprenticeship, a T level, and we will be offering T levels at Leicester College from September 2021. And a traineeship as well. And I will go through apprenticeships and traineeships a little bit later on. So I think really what this boils down to is you need to think about how you want to be taught and assessed. And then you need to make a decision about what's going to work best for you. So Katie's already touched upon a lot of the advantages, but also, we've heard a lot of programme leads this week talk about the work experience element of BTECs. Now, that work experience element is going to give you so many skills. This hands-on work experience, which I think really helps prepare a lot of students for the world of work, not just at university, but generally in your life as well. So they're going to give you some really, really transferable skills. And also, with BTECs, a lot of students we find are really worried about going to university afterwards, especially with a BTEC qualification. And the thing is, with a BTEC level 3 extended diploma, it gives you UCAS points to go to university. It's equivalent to 3 A levels. So by all means, you can progress onto university afterwards. I think what I would say is if you like exams, if you genuinely enjoy them and you don't mind doing lots of theory work and your GCSE grades are very, very good, then consider A levels as well. They're really useful for keeping your options open. So of course at 16 to 18, I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I deliberately chose A levels, obviously because that was the only choice that was given to me, but also it allowed me to keep my options open. And then later on, I was able to narrow down exactly what I wanted to do. So A levels are really useful for keeping your options open. But you do have to, as I said, think about how you like to be taught, because just because you enjoyed that subject at GCSE doesn't mean it's necessarily going to translate over when you do A levels. The actual A level subject could be really, really different. And I think that's something that you have to bear in mind. And I think that that's also one of the reasons, Katie, isn't it, that some of the students come to us after the first year of A levels and say, well, it was nothing like my GCSE subject, and that's why I didn't like it, and I couldn't, I couldn't, obviously, I didn't do as well as what I thought I would do in my exams. So I would say if you are really wanting to do A levels, always check the entry requirements. The best way to do it is to go to each college website. It will tell you what those GCSE entry requirements are. But the good thing about BTECs is that we have them at varying levels, right from entry level up to level 3. So we've got something for everybody. So regardless of what your GCSE grades are, there's a chance that we will have a BTEC course that will suit you.
Cool. I know you said you're gonna talk a little bit more about sort of T-levels and apprenticeships a little bit later on.
Yes, we will.
I've got a question about that, so that is good. We'll cover that later.
Yeah, we are going to cover that.
Yeah, we will.
Okay, don't worry. So once you've sort of, I was talking about, you've got that career and you've figured out what you want to do when you grow up, as I like. I still say, what do you want to do when you grow up? And I still don't know. But how can I sort of find out more about job roles or careers that interest me? What is the best way to sort of go about that?
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, if you've got to the point then when you've done all that kind of research and self-awareness and done that thinking about really kind of what course or kind of career idea is going to be best for you, which is fantastic. But often a lot of students will come to us and they've kind of got this idea, but they've not fully explored that further. So if you want to know more information about a particular career, so it could be including what it actually involves. What does it really look like? What qualifications do I need? What are the typical training requirements or entry requirements to get into that career? Do I need to go to university? Do I not? If you want to know how much am I going to earn, which a lot of students do. So what's going to make my typical salary? What are my working hours going to be like? Is it going to be kind of typical Monday to Friday, or is it not? Am I going to have shift work, etc.? All of these things are obviously going to really influence kind of your decisions. So there are some fantastic, as the slide is showing, fantastic online careers resources that we advocate and that we use with students to help them explore their career ideas when they come and have a chat with us, to hopefully help you make that more informed decision. So as we can see there, we've got National Careers Service there, and we've got Career Pilot and I Could, and I'm just picking those ones out particularly because they all have kind of a job profiles or explore careers style section where you can find out all that up-to-date information, and that's what's important as well when you're looking at careers information online, because we can all Google, but sometimes you want those trusted careers websites, so that the information is correct and it is kind of up to date, because things are always moving. So it does give you that up to date information on lots of jobs. What's really nice about I Could in particular is because it's got some actual videos of people who are doing the jobs that maybe you're thinking about going into. They're not actors, as I always say to students, these are actually real people doing those jobs, and it helps to give you an understanding of what a day in the life of that job is really like. And we've got health careers on the bottom there as well, and obviously that's really, really fantastic resource, especially obviously if you're sat there and you're thinking, I really want to work within health, perhaps within the NHS itself. There's over like 350 job roles within health, which is huge. So you can again use their kind of explore careers section to find out what they involve, what training is required, and where those health roles can lead. And it also includes fantastic real life video stories of people working in that role, so you can really understand what to expect. They have a great career planning section on there as well. So again, a little bit similar to what Sonia's just talked about in terms of those kind of careers match.
Oh, you may have lost Katie there. Do you want to carry on this one and we'll see if we can get Katie back?
Yeah, of course. So those are some really, really useful websites that you can use. As Katie was saying, there's not one that's better than the other. They will all give you some really, really useful job profile information and an insight into what people are doing within that particular job role. And I think it's really important to watch videos of real people doing their job and talking about what they do on a day-to-day basis.
Amazing, cool. Well, while we wait for Katie to come back, why don't we talk a little bit more about sort of some of the things that you mentioned earlier on. So you mentioned apprenticeships and traineeships, but yeah. How would I go about getting an apprenticeship? How do I find out what's available to me?
So, I mean, the best way to do it is to go online. Okay, but before we actually look at that, I just want to explain to people what an apprenticeship is, because we get asked a lot about apprenticeships by students, and it's understandable. There's a lot of advertising of apprenticeships at the minute. Basically, an apprenticeship is a real job. Okay, so you're going to be working and you're going to be studying as well. So you've got the benefit of being paid, you'll get all the benefits of holidays as well. So the employer is going to train you, and you might have to come to college one day a week or come along for something called block release, which is essentially, you come to college for a few weeks, and that's to do the underpinning theory, essentially, that's needed for that particular apprenticeship. Now, they're available for anyone from 16, and there's no upper age limit, but you can't be in full-time education and do an apprenticeship at the same time. So you can't be doing a BTEC at Leicester College and also be doing an apprenticeship. It's one or the other. There's different levels of apprenticeships. I'm just going to quickly go through the different levels. So an intermediate apprenticeship is a level 2 qualification, equivalent to GCSEs. An advanced level apprenticeship is a level 3 qualification, it's equivalent to A level. And then we get the higher and the degree apprenticeship, so level 4, 5 and 6. Those are fairly new qualifications. They've only, degree apprenticeships really have only been around since about 2015. Now, apprenticeships can have some GCSE requirements, and it's always best to check on the website if the employer does want some GCSEs. Sometimes there is an option for students to retake those English and Maths qualifications. You might be able to retake a GCSE, or at least you'll be able to do a functional skills qualification in English and Maths, but always check. So 80% of your time is going to be spent with an employer, and 20% will be off-the-job training as well. So the way that you're likely to be assessed is really, it's a combination of, for example, it could be written work, it could be essays, it could be reports, it could be practical exercises, it could be observations, there could be end tests, there could be some exams as well. I think it's a bit of a myth that, that people might think that apprenticeships have no exams whatsoever. It's not true, that they do. Can have exams. So you're going to be employed for a minimum of 30 hours a week. So, all I would say with apprenticeships is please look at them. We want people to explore them, but really think specifically about your career goals, because apprenticeships, you can't do an apprenticeship in English. You're doing a job role. So it could be an apprenticeship in, for example, social media marketing. And so, read the job role and read about what's going to be expected of you, essentially. The other important thing I will just make about apprenticeships is that when you do apply for them, the application is really, really important, because essentially you're applying for a job. So try and provide as much information as you possibly can within that application form. And if the employer, likes your application, if they think that you've got the right skills that will match that job role, then they'll invite you in for an interview. So you'll have an interview with the employer, and if they like you, then obviously they'll give you the position. If not, you're able to reapply. But we always say, look, just have a backup option, have a plan B, just in case things don't work out for you. So, Ashton, I think what we'll do is we'll look at how people actually apply for apprenticeships. So the best way to do it, I think, is go by the government website. So that's the website there. There are hundreds of vacancies that are listed. Apprenticeships can start at each point throughout the year. Obviously, at the minute with the COVID-19 pandemic, you might find that there's fewer vacancies available. But hopefully, this situation isn't going to last forever. So hopefully that will change. You can look on the Leicester College website for vacancies. We've got an apprenticeship training agency based at Freeman's Park. I think they did a live stream as well, didn't they, on apprenticeships that you
Yeah.
can watch.
Yeah.
Hub 100 Leicester, they release 100 apprenticeship vacancies that you can also have a look at, and that will take you back to the government website. There's the Amazing Apprenticeships website. And the other way that you could find an apprenticeship is that you could approach individual company websites. So I don't know, for example, Jaguar Land Rover. And I met a student earlier this year who did just that. He went directly to a company and asked them, you know, have you got apprenticeship vacancies? He applied through the website, and he had to have a telephone interview first of all, and then he had to have a panel interview as well at the actual company. So, you know, they're not for the faint-hearted, apprenticeships. Do bear in mind, you're going to be working and you're going to be studying at the same time. So, as I said, please feel free to have a look and follow these websites on social media. Follow the companies that you're interested in on social media as well, so that you can be kept up to date with what vacancies are available.
Fantastic. Well, let me just add Katie back in. She's
Where did you go?
I'm so sorry. My Wi-Fi just went. It just went down. So apologies.
Way too well. Nothing to go wrong. Don't you worry. I do actually have a quick question for you, Sonia. Will students be able to find their own apprenticeship opportunity and then bring it to the college for us to sort of sort out for them? Or?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I had a student last year who did just that. He approached a garage and he wanted to do an apprenticeship in motor vehicle. So he had approached a garage and you know, the manager of the garage was all for it. And I got him to get in touch with the apprenticeship training agency at Leicester College, and they set it up for him. So yeah, it's not the easiest way to do it. However, it is an option. Absolutely, the students can do.
Cool. So we'll move on to the next question now. We're going to go from quite a vague question, and I'm going to narrow it down for the convenience of that that's what's on the PowerPoint. But you know, sort of like while you're home over lockdown over the summer, you want to sort of start preparing for courses and start preparing for what's coming next. But if we sort of focus more on like the art and design courses, what can students do to prepare for those courses? What advice would you give to those students?
Okay, so again, I would really kind of advise students to kind of go back and listen to our St Margaret's tutors, our creative art and design streams that went on, because there was some fantastic advice given there, and they are completely the experts. But in terms of what we would advise, really, if you are looking to come and join us for an art and design based course, fantastic. We would strongly advise, obviously, to continue to build that portfolio, or build a portfolio if you've not actually got one. And lockdown has been kind of a fantastic opportunity to actually get creative and get inspired in that way, to either whether it's drawing or taking photographs, whatever it is that ignites kind of that creative passion in you. So what do we just mean by portfolio? So let's just clarify that. So really, all it means is a collection of your work which illustrates your artistic and creative talent to other people, such as the college tutors, university tutors, employers. So it's up to you then what you want to include in your own portfolio, really, because it's there to represent you as a creative individual. But it's a good idea to maybe have plenty of content to choose from in that portfolio, and include work that you feel that you can confidently talk about. If you haven't already done so, as we've mentioned earlier, start drawing, creating textiles and craft pieces, taking some really good quality photographs if photography is your passion, and include then a selection of them in your portfolio. We'd also say to students to keep a sketchbook of your ideas too, because that's really good, because it shows your development of your ideas as well, kind of your inspiration, your motivation, and often your ideas can be just as important as your finished pieces. So it's also a good idea as well, because again, there will be kind of written annotation alongside your creative work. So it's a good idea to include some written work in that portfolio if you can. So maybe a magazine article you've written, or an essay, which just highlights your writing style and your writing skills. But as I've said, it's your portfolio, so include work which best represents your own individual creative style. So as well, with our kind of more creative media based courses, as kind of the second row on the slide says there, if you enjoy kind of creating video content, then, you know, get blogging, a video blog basically. So, you know, showcase perhaps any short films you've made on YouTube, as it will demonstrate your, you know, creative and technical knowledge. If you like writing, you could perhaps start writing a blog, or you could write short stories, a script perhaps. Again, it's a great motivator. It's a great way to be creative and to express your own ideas and thoughts. Perhaps if you've applied for music, whether that be either performance or the tech side, perhaps have a go at creating or mixing your own music. Or if you play a musical instrument, then obviously practice that as much as possible. And then just that final row there, we always advocate it's a really good idea, especially within the creative industries, to use the social media platforms that are out there already, such as Instagram and YouTube, if you're not doing so already, to showcase your talents to others. Okay, so you might want to think about enhancing your employability. So coming towards the end of your course, we talked to a lot of kind of level 3 students regarding this, regarding a more digital CV. So with the option of kind of showcasing again yourself to employers, and kind of being able to upload written blogs, etc., or pieces of work that you've done, as well as starting to network with employers, which is fantastic. You could also have a go at a video CV perhaps, or even a show reel of your work. So it does really give students a good platform to highlight everything that they've learned, their skills, their talents and their experience. And you could even consider using platforms like Zerply to upload creative content like a show reel. So I know we've kind of gone around a few kind of the creative subjects there, but I think it's all about kind of keeping being creative in whatever kind of passion you've got, and because that's going to look so strong when you come and start your course, and it really does show that you've got that complete passion for that subject.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when we were talking to the creative industries team on Wednesday, and they mentioned that they would definitely be looking for a lockdown sketchbook.
Yeah.
What have you been doing? What have you been drawing, or what?
Absolutely fascinating.
And then also, if you are sort of looking at starting up vlogging and all you've got is your phone, there is a video on our Facebook page, which is made by one of our photography and video tutors. That's all about how to make a video on your phone. So do have a look at that if that's something you want to take up.
It's really good.
I took up vlogging in my GCSE year when I was 15, and I look back and they are cringe, but they are still something that I look back and they were quite fond things I remember. So they're good, yeah. So obviously the world's a little bit, I like to say, wonky at the moment, and it's all sort of changing around. There's big like adjustments happening in the employer world. Where do you, as careers advisors, and I'd like to say job experts, sort of seeing the future? What are the jobs for the future, do you think, and what's going to happen next for us?
I mean, you know, we would love to have a crystal ball, Ashton, you know, to find out where exactly the jobs for the future are going to be. We don't, but instead we've got something called labour market information, and that essentially that's about the supply and demand of jobs. So, you know, we know that there are some industries that are going to thrive, maybe other industries, obviously, which have suffered because of the pandemic. I think it's interesting because with the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic, that there were 3 particular areas where we saw a growth in jobs, and, you know, they were healthcare, education and online commerce. But, I mean, if we have a look at this slide, this is just going to show you where the demand for the jobs in the future are likely to be. So at the top, we've got healthcare, renewable energy and technology, medical engineering, health and life science. We've got water and flood risks. In the middle, we've got construction, we've got digital technology and artificial intelligence is a really big area. High-tech manufacturing, think of 3D printing, personal services, so personal trainer. At the bottom, roads, power, water and transport. We've got digital arts there, so if you're interested in special effects, design, working for film and TV, that's a growth area. Obviously there's social services and education as well, and then there's aerospace. just thinking about obviously lockdown, if you think about the popularity of, you know, Joe Wicks, and he's a personal trainer who went online teaching people, you know, these fitness sessions. The thing is, people will still want to keep fit even after lockdown, so that's why that's a growth area. And as I said, areas like, you know, cybersecurity, so basically these people protect our data. If you think about how much online shopping we do and how much, you know, banking we now do online, we're going to need people to protect our particular data. Obviously, there are certain areas which have taken a hit, okay, during the pandemic. Retail has, but to be fair, a lot more people now might want to do self-service within a store. They shop online as well. And due to largely AI and automation, you know, there might be some jobs which unfortunately disappear. But the thing is, I think it's important to state that, you know, if you're genuinely interested in doing the job role of a teacher or a social worker, you should go for it, because we're always going to need people who have got those really important transferable skills that Katie's already mentioned. So we're always going to need people who can communicate well with others, who can build a rapport with people as well. So it's not just all about technology, but those personal services. And of course, the digital arts, the creative arts are really, really key to the demand for jobs in the future. I think another nice tool, Ashton, if we should just show people the careerometer, because what you can do is that you can look at some of these job roles yourself. On the Leicester College website, we've got this lovely little tool called the careerometer. If you go to the front page of the website, click on College Life, then select the career service, you'll find it towards the bottom of the page. But basically, you can type in a job role that interests you, and it will give you some essentially what's called labour market information. So you can see there details of salary, it will give you working hours, and it will also tell you a bit more about that job role as well, so you get an idea of what that role is actually going to include. And you'll also see if it's a growth area as well. But as I say, you know, if a job role genuinely interests you, you know, go for it. It's what's important to you that you should be going for. But at least this will give you an idea of what those particular jobs are going to entail.
Helps I mute my microphone, doesn't it? I'm too many of you. Do you think I'd be good at it now? No, still forgetting. Someone rang my doorbell and I was like, right. So we've got a question earlier on in the comments about T-levels. I did mention them a little bit earlier on. And obviously it is the next big thing, as we call it. So do you want to sort of tell us a little bit about T-levels, you know, what they are and what we're offering?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, thanks, Jessica, for your question. Really kind of pertinent one as well. So in terms of Leicester College, as the slide's saying there, that we'll be starting to offer T-levels from next September, so 2021. And from September 2021, we're going to be offering it in the following areas, T-levels in the following subject areas. So that's digital, construction, education and childcare, and health and science. So you can see obviously the T-levels that we plan to offer then in 2022 and then in 2023. So I'm not going to talk through those because the slide shows those. But I think what's really important is just to kind of clarify a little bit actually what are T-levels. So they are that new qualification, as you've said, and they're going to offer an alternative to A-levels really to students after they've completed GCSEs. So just like other level 3 qualifications, typically they are 2 years long, and they're going to be made up of a mixture of classroom learning and industry placement. So I believe, I'm sure Sonia will correct me if I'm wrong, it's 45 days, at least 45 days in industry. So it's a significant amount of work experience that you're going to be getting as part of those qualifications. They've been actually designed within those areas. So, for example, digital construction that we'll be offering from next year, they've been designed with employers in mind, to assist students. because they're trying to, fit a gap, really, a skills gap. So we're hoping that that's going to help students develop the skills and knowledge and behaviours that actually employers want and need in their businesses. So what's also good to note is that they will still enable students to progress to university if that's what a student wants to do or needs to do for their career progression. Because again, just like A-levels, just like BTECs, they attract UCAS points. Okay, so that's really good to mention as well, that that's a possibility still. So they are new. They're going to be offered from next year with Leicester College. So if you do obviously want a little bit more in-depth information, there is more information on our website. So yeah, do please visit. But yeah, it should be very exciting qualifications.
Wow, cool. So that's the next big thing, the next level qualification, as the branding says.
Yeah.
There's a blog post on our website that I will link in the comments as well. So if you do want to check out a bit more about T-levels, have a look at that blog. It's got lots of information on it as well. The next question I have is about apprenticeships. Obviously, regarding the current GCSE changes, a lot of people will be very worried about their English and maths grades and their GCSE grades, given that they can't really have those exams to control it anymore. But if a student doesn't necessarily get those English and maths qualifications, can they still do an apprenticeship, or what can they do instead?
So this is not an unusual situation, because we actually need a lot of students in this position. And so what we say is that whilst there may be some apprenticeships that may not necessarily need those maths and English, you're going to find that there are more apprenticeships that will ask for them. And so really you need to fill that gap, because as careers advisors, we're not going to say English and maths qualifications are not important, that they're essential, not just for apprenticeships in the world of work and university. So what we often do is we will talk to students about the possibility of doing what's called a traineeship instead. And traineeships basically help students get work ready. They will involve students doing English and maths qualifications, usually their functional skills in English and maths. And basically they prepare you for the world of work. So the English and maths is one part of it, but also you will get the opportunity to do some work experience as well in an area that interests you. And I've referred students to do traineeships, and they've come out with their English and maths qualifications. They've done that work experience. It's helped to build their confidence. They can gain a reference, from someone, and then they can use that towards getting a job or an apprenticeship in the future. Now, obviously, at Leicester College, we don't currently offer traineeships. However, if it's something that you feel that you need to fill in this English and maths skills gap, talk to the careers advisors, because we can put you in touch with organisations that can offer you that traineeship. I mean, I can't recommend them enough for students who have got no qualifications and really need to build up that confidence. So absolutely, traineeships can bridge that gap between having no qualifications and then moving on to an apprenticeship in the future.
Fab, thank you. So as we sort of go on to the last question that we've got prepared, if there is any other questions that watching at home you do have, do pop them in the comments and we'll answer them just after the presentation. But talking about the next step after BTEC, after A-levels, about university, is normally, not for everyone, is the next step in education. Can students still do university with a BTEC, or is there limits as to what they can study?
No, not at all. So I think, again, if you've tuned into any of the live streams this week, you'll have seen the progression that you can go on to from a BTEC. As you've said, apprenticeships, employment, university. You certainly don't have to go to university, absolutely not. But if that is kind of the direction you're thinking about going into, whether you need that for the career you want, or you just want to go on to university, then I think hopefully it's cleared up this week that you can go on to higher education from a BTEC, absolutely. And we have a high number of students apply and get places at universities and colleges who offer higher education courses every year. And it's always fantastic and inspiring to see where our students go on to, because we work really closely with our students across lots of curriculum areas to help them with those UCAS applications, and kind of see it through to hopefully them getting those offers, which is fantastic. So very exciting. So absolutely, and most universities and colleges in the UK accept BTEC students. They really actually want BTEC students, because again, that essay writing, those research projects, that time management that they've shown is a real sought after quality. So just to highlight, research is key when it comes to kind of all kind of careers decisions, really. But if you are thinking about university after your BTEC, just obviously really important to check those entry requirements for those courses you're interested in, because they do vary. They're not the same at every single university. So if you're just unsure, it's just best to get in touch with the university, and they've always got fantastic admissions teams who always want to speak to students to guide and advise them if you're just unsure of their BTEC entry criteria. So as the slide's showing you there, it's just really, as I said, I couldn't possibly go on and talk about all the kind of progression we have from all of our Leicester College courses, because we would be here forever, and it is Friday afternoon after all. So I just wanted to highlight a few areas, and as you can see there, the slides speak for themselves, and our tutors have already been talking about this, but it does really kind of, the world is your oyster. You can kind of decide to go on to different areas from these BTECs. So like your health and social care there, you've got social work, we've got aspiring nurses, all the 4 disciplines of nursing. You've got your midwifery, your paramedics, education studies, a real variety of fantastic courses that our students progress on to. The same with our applied science BTEC, marine biology, zoo biology, things like that, your typical biomed science and forensic sciences. But then again, like your healthcare courses as well there, so your physiotherapy, kind of your allied health courses, physiotherapy, audiology, and radiography as well. So it's just fantastic progression, and we see this every year as well. So this isn't one-off. And then a little bit more from our business area. Again, it's kind of focusing on the discipline then that you really want to follow. At university, it gives you that option to kind of study that subject in that much more depth. So you've got your kind of accounting and finance, your business management. We've got fashion marketing on there, so the business side of fashion. You've got your law, your economics, and those kind of subject areas. And then again from our art and design area as well, fantastic creative courses that our students pursue in areas ranging from your fine art and your graphics and interior and fashion design to architecture as well, and artistic makeup and special effects. So some fantastic exciting courses. So it gives you a flavour of where where you could go. That could be you. So just definitely you can progress to uni with a BTEC, because that is still kind of a bit of a myth out there that it's just A levels.
Fantastic. I think that's all sort of slides that we have, which is great. Obviously we have been going on for a little while, so I will just answer a couple of questions that we have received while we've been doing the PowerPoint. So Jessica obviously asked a little bit about T levels and a couple of details, but she also asked, do you have to do a T level?
No, you don't have to do a T level. So obviously we're only offering them in 4 subject areas from 2021. So it's completely a student's choice. There will still be BTEC qualifications available, A levels. Obviously we don't offer A levels at Leicester College, but no, not at all. That's kind of a phased approach at the moment. So there will be other kind of level 3 qualifications that you can apply for still.
Fantastic. And Jessica had another question as well, which was, do you need work experience before coming to college?
Hi Jessica, thanks for your question. You don't absolutely need it, but I think it helps in certain disciplines, because I think work experience, it helps you to figure out, do I want to do this? So for people, I would say, if you're interested specifically in going into the health professions, so nursing, midwifery, as Katie's just mentioned there, I think the work experience is important in that respect, because if you decide you do want to apply for university or even an apprenticeship later on, that work experience is really going to enhance your application. And as I said, I think it helps you to confirm your career choice for you. There are lots of people who say, yes, I want to do that, but they may not have much understanding of what the actual job involves. So I think it very much depends on the area, you know, that you want a career in or that you want to study at college. But as I said, it just helps you to confirm that career choice. And I always say to students, there is no such thing as a waste of time work experience. Every single work experience you do will give you some transferable skills that you can use in the future. So I hope that helps, Jessica.
Cool. Well, that's sort of all the time I think we have. I think we've gotten past 5 o'clock now, so we should all definitely go and relax into our Friday evenings. But thank you both for joining me. This was really helpful, and I'm hoping that those watching at home found it very helpful as well. I'll be back tomorrow. These guys get Saturday off, luckily, but I'll be back tomorrow morning at 9:45 with sport. So if sport is a sort of course you're looking for, or maybe UPS later on tomorrow as well. So any of those courses, do join us again tomorrow for live streams throughout the day. I'll be hanging around with loads of questions. Make sure if you have any questions for tomorrow for sport or anything, you can send them to us now on Instagram, and we'll make sure they get answered in the live streams tomorrow as well. So thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed today. There's been loads of live streams. You can go back and watch all of the ones that have happened this week if you have missed any of them. Any subject area, have a look at all the content, because there's loads and loads that have been going up, and the live streams are very, very helpful for you if you're looking for a certain curriculum area. But for now, we'll head off and we'll let you guys enjoy your Friday night. So thank you so much for joining us.
Ashton, just before we go, we'd just like to, on behalf of the careers team, we'd just like to say a really big thank you to you and all of the marketing team. You've done an outstanding job this week. You should be extremely proud, because look at what you've achieved. And also special thanks to Nick, you know, during our first live streams we were so nervous, but you made us feel so, you know, supportive and encouraging. And Victoria and Adam, thank you for your technical support, and Hannah and Wajida for the opportunity. Thank you so much. So I hope you have a really great weekend, despite that, you know, because you're working, but you know, it's so well done. You should be really proud of your achievements.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Thanks, guys. But yes, we'll head off now. I'm going to go and cry into the pillow for that nice message. So it's really nice. Thanks very much, guys, and we'll see you very soon. Hopefully, as close to September as we can. So bye-bye for now.